What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with a one-and-done preview for the Fort Worth Invitational. And I've been thinking a lot about this one-and-done pool this year, spending a lot of time thinking about it this week, and I think I really kind of screwed it up. We'll talk more about that in a second, but let's just show you where we stand here. So last week, we took on Adam Scott in lineup number 1, and then Jordan Spieth in both lineup number 2 and lineup number 3. Now for the season, we are basically all three lineups are within, what is that, 70 grand of each other, 100 grand of each other, between 1.9 and $2 million. And that puts us probably in the bottom third of the standings for this pool. But we still have a little bit of, I guess we still have plenty to play for, quite actually, because we got off to a decent segment 3 start with Adam Scott at the Byron Nelson. And then we've got nearly $900,000 banked for the majors and the players. So where that lands us is, let me see if I can find this real quick. So for lineup number 3, which is not a great one. Segment 3, we're in 797th and 779th for majors and players. Lineup number 2, 943 for majors and players, and again 797 for segment 3, which we know. And then our first lineup, where's our first lineup at? Are these labeled incorrectly? RickRunGood 2. Oh, here it is. RickRunGood 1. My bad. So here we are, 129th for majors and players. And I think the leader is only at, I don't know, 2.7. So we're, a win out, right? I mean, we're in striking range there. And then segment 3, we are here, 627th, and the leader is only at like $1 million or something like that, 1.3. Okay, so we still have plenty to play for with the third segment, the fourth segment, and then the majors and the players. But I've really just been thinking, I think I really screwed this up, and we've gotten a little bit unlucky where we were on a lot of golfers basically the week before they won. We've talked about that in the past. But also I think I've gotten a bit too cute in this. And what I mean by that is I've been probably trying to be the smartest guy in the room, trying to go off the grid a little bit and grab some of these guys that we probably didn't need to. For example, like we only have to choose 36 golfers this year. That's not a lot. If we look up the official world golf rankings, I mean, if we go down to 36, basically we should play no one worse than Louis Oosthuizen. Now, that's just straight with official world golf rankings. If we look at like points gained this year, you're actually probably closer to, I looked this up earlier, 36 would be Terrell Hatton. So like, look at all these names that we could have played, right? I guess my point is there's no shortage of talent on the PGA Tour. And quite honestly, this might be the deepest the PGA Tour has been, I'll say ever, right? There's a ton of young talent. It's deep every week. Guys are capable of winning. I'm not sure we needed to get as cute as we did. So for example, we probably never needed to play Austin Cook at any point this year. We played him in 2 lineups, right? We may not have ever needed to play Ches Reavie even, who I'm a big fan of. We've played him in all 3 lineups. We played Cam Smith in week 1 at the Century Tournament of Champions. We played Francisco Molinari at the Farmers Insurance. Probably didn't need to happen. We played Brendan Steele at the Genesis Open instead of taking one of those big favorites. We played Pat Perez at AT&T. We played Ollie. These are all guys that I like from a DFS standpoint or from a value standpoint. But quite honestly, maybe I overvalued value this year. And maybe I was trying to be the smartest guy in the room when we should have just kind of knocked out as many of these studs as possible and worried about who we were going to pick later, right? Like if we would have just tried to just put the pedal down from week one, and we got to the point where we had to take, lesser players later, like I think that would have been okay, because we would have gotten to a week where, okay, we would have played, like Xander Schauffele or something, which not a big deal. Or we would have gotten to a week where we have to play Bryson. Not a big deal at this point. You know what I mean? Like there's just always enough golfers, it feels like, that we punted a lot of these early weeks waiting for segment 2 or waiting for majors when we probably should have just been picking off favorites every single week. So we're going to try to make a little bit of a course correction here and kind of take that strategy moving forward. So who are we looking for this week at the Fort Worth Invitational? And again, a very deep field. Pricing wise, there's 5 guys over 10K, which shows you how deep this field is. And there's a lot of good options here. Spieth, certainly the chalk with, his course history coming in. I mean, you go watch the DFS video if you want the full breakdown here. But in terms of this one and done, I'm going to be taking one of these 5 guys in every lineup. And I'm going to try to use a little more game theory and try to just kind of zig when everyone else is zagging. So, for example, this week, where do I have it here? If we look at those top guys, Spieth has already been used in nearly 60% of the lineups. Rahm has already been used in 53%. Webb Simpson has been used in 47%. Fowler in 46%. And Justin Rose in 38%. I imagine Rose will be very popular this week. I imagine Webb will be very popular this week, but half the field can't use him. So what I'm going to opt to do, I think I've burned through Spieth in every lineup. I'm going to go with Jon Rahm, who has already been used in half the lineups. He's playing well. He had a second place here last year. And I think that a lot of people will avoid using him because, one, they've already used him, or they'll just save him for later. And then I'm going to go with Webb Simpson, kind of a similar boat, right? Like a lot of guys have already burned him. I'm going to continue to ride his hot hand, even coming off the Players win. He had the week off. He's traveling here to Fort Worth where he's had great success in the past. I know it's kind of tough to back up a win and do well again, but he's played really well. So let's see if he can keep it rolling. So for this week, so if I want to use Webb, I've already used him in 2 lineups. So he's going to have to go here. He's going to have to go in our 3rd lineup. And then we're going to take Jon Rahm in each one of these first 2. And let me just confirm I've not used him anywhere else. No. Okay. So we still have Rahm for another, for our 3rd lineup as well. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Going to try to keep the pedal down here. Going to try to zig when the rest of the field is zagging, but not too much, right? Like we don't need to be super contrarian. Like there's essentially 5 favorites this week. Let's take the one that has great success and, half the field has already used. That's the route I'm going to go. When we look back at this at the end of the year, I think we're going to be like, we just punted the first third of the year, which is kind of a shame. So we'll make corrections for next year, but let me know what you think about this. I'm going to like to do a little bit more research about like how deep you really have to go. Cause you got to look at, not all the big players play all the big, not all the tournaments, right? So sometimes you're picking from lesser options. So maybe at the end of the year, we'll do kind of an analysis and see maybe where we could have gone instead of where we did end up going. So let me know what you think about this and just kind of burning through these players here and then worrying about it later as opposed to saving them and just hoping that you can play catch up at the end. Let me know. Tweet me. It's at DFS On Demand or leave a comment below. See ya.